As you know, streaming can get really expensive sometimes, but it doesn't have to be like that. And today I will be reacting to building a sort of a full streaming setup on the cheap, and of course like how can you improve from there as well. And the video is by Linus Tech Tips, so I'll be reacting to that and giving my opinions on how he goes around building a full streaming setup on the cheap and how he intends to improve it, with certain budget and certain gear, like kind of over time. And but anyways, if you like these types of videos, make sure to let me know, and also by dropping a like, and also don't forget to subscribe if you would like to see more content just like this. But anyways, without further ado, let's get right into the video. Okay,
starting off as a live streamer can seem
give me a moment. Whoops. Okay, sorry about that.
really scary if you look at the expensive gear that your favorite personalities are using.
True.
But I'm gonna let you know a little secret.
Oh, sponsored by Own.
As someone with over 12 years of experience in this industry, it is not about how high resolution your camera is or how crystal clear your audio is. It's
True.
about the content and engaging your audience.
True.
You can deal with the rest of that stuff.
Content is key, and then after everything else, it's like it's just other stuff,
Once you start generating some income. So today, we're gonna show you guys how for really cheap, or even free, if you're willing to
even
get a little
free.
bit hacky,
Wow.
you can create a complete streaming/video.
I'm assuming he's probably using like the things that you already have, that you already own, like to build this setup.
recording setup to kickstart your hobby or even a career in online content creation. Once you're streaming, you're gonna want some sick visuals to accompany your content, which brings us perfectly to today's sponsor, Owned Overlay to save 50%. For today, we're gonna assume that you're looking to live stream and that you intend to use a face cam.
Okay.
If you're planning on filming VOD content, or if you want to stream without a camera, you shouldn't have a problem adapting these tricks for your specific setup,
just don't
or
have the
just skipping
camera, I
over the
guess.
portions you don't need.
True.
Most people's first thought when it comes to video is the ubiquitous Logitech C920S. But at nearly $70, it's not the kind of thing that I would consider to be an impulse purchase.
Most people,
now you
yeah.
can go all the way down the product stack where Logitech C270 can be had for around $25,
Oh, you could get the B25, which is I think 50.
but with image quality reminiscent of a laptop webcam, it's kind of like throwing
Yeah, isn't it like 720p, like 1280 by 720, and like 30 frames, and like something like that, I think.
money away because you will have to replace it eventually.
Yeah.
Fortunately, there's probably a camera that's better than most webcams sitting in your pocket right now, your phone.
Actually, you can also, if you have a laptop, you can just use the laptop webcam. I've seen a lot of people just use, just the laptop webcam. But yeah, if you don't have that, like if you're just using a PC that doesn't have that, yeah, I think a phone is pretty good.
Now, I wouldn't necessarily recommend doing this forever due to wear and tear on both your battery and your device from the heat.
True.
And it is a little annoying to set up every time, but using
But
your
also it depends on the camera quality of your phone. Because if you have like let's say $100 or $200 phone, then maybe it's not that good of an idea. But if you have like a decent phone, anything like mid-range or above, like not totally like that budget, like at least like I would say 200 plus and above, maybe, then I think that would be a really good idea. Because if your phone is like maybe $100 or below, yeah, it might not be that great.
Your phone is an awesome way to get really high quality visuals without spending any extra money. If you rock an Android phone, download the IP webcam app from the Play Store, and once booted up, enter the listed IP for your device into your web browser, copy the URL, and paste it into OBS as a browser source while adding /video to the end. Set it to refresh the source when the scene becomes active, so you have a quick way to reset the feed if need be. And we'd also recommend setting the resolution to 720p under advanced, along with turning down the stream quality to make sure you're not pushing your phone's CPU too hard. That'll at least help keep heat under control.
Oh, and also another thing, if you have a weaker phone, right, it will also prevent what I call that, it will prevent like you using a lot of CPU on your phone, so it will prevent like stuttering and stuff like that, especially a phone doesn't have a really good CPU and you know you want it to run at like a smooth frame rate. You know, having a very large resolution can make it like very choppy sometimes, and it's one of the reasons why webcams can be really choppy.
iOS, you can achieve practically the same thing with an app called Droidcam. You'll have to download their software and install it on your PC, enter the IP there, and then you can just add it as a video capture device in OBS.
Honestly, I would recommend Droidcam. Droidcam is more simple and nicer to set up.
It should default to 480p, so run their HD mode program as admin and select 720p if you so desire. Now comes the question of how to mount the phone. If you have a coat hanger kicking around, you can do some bending and make a simple desktop stand. Or if you have a shelf or a desk ledge above your monitor, some tape or a clamp can work pretty well as well.
Yeah.
If you're willing to spend a few dollars, phone tripods can be had on AliExpress for just a few dollars and are a little bit more user-friendly.
Yeah, or you could get like a tripod for $10. If I'm not wrong, I have one that I reviewed on my channel that's made for smartphones for about like $10. So you could invest like $10 into that and you should be good to go for your camera setup.
And bam! There you go, video.
Yep.
Well, mostly. Relying on just your monitor to light your face can be a little
sliding
jarring
is
for your
very
audience
important.
because dark scenes in your game will make it hard to see you, and sudden bright lights can blow you out.
Yeah, that's very
true. A common
true.
fix for this is a set of cheap softboxes like this newer kit on Amazon, but
Yeah,
it's got a problem.
$90.
It's almost $90. And it
And
requires
if I'm not wrong, the single one is probably like $50 or $40.
a fair bit of space to rig up. So once again, we've got a free, or at least nearly free option. Try using an old lamp that you have kicking around the house paired with, ideally, a halogen light bulb.
Okay.
These are better than fluorescents for getting consistent and true-to-life colors out of your camera. But beware, if you put them right next to you, the light will probably be too harsh. So try using wax paper or some other kind of...
But you have a lamp, don't you have like a lampshade? So if you have a lamp, something like this, right? Like what he's using, right? It usually comes with a lampshade, right? So you can just put the lampshade over and just change the light bulb and just put it to the side. Like the light, like right here, the lampshade, right? You could just use that as diffusion. Or if it's not enough, you know, maybe you could put more like stuff inside to make it more diffuse.
Or some other kind of translucent material as a diffuser. Or, alternately, you can just bounce them off of a wall to soften the light.
Yeah, but that's true.
Be careful when you're setting it up because halogen bulbs can get pretty hot and you don't want to start a fire.
Yeah, definitely.
For that reason, this is actually one case where we'd recommend spending a few bucks. Clamp lights, like these from our local hardware store.
Actually, another way that you can do it is, you know, the ceiling light that's above you, right? Position the way so that you are facing the ceiling light and the camera is facing you. So that the ceiling light, instead of lighting you from the back, it's lighting you from the front instead. Because I've seen that in some people's setups, and even with a laptop webcam, they do look, they actually look really good with that setup, with just them, you know, having the desk facing, like, you know, in front. It's the like the ceiling lamp itself on top of them, just like right there, and then blasting light at them, and then the webcam just right there.
Or can make things a lot easier because they can clamp right to your monitor stand or a nearby shelf, and they're powerful enough to penetrate a diffusion layer or bounce off the wall. All right, so video stream's looking great so far, but what about audio?
Yeah, it looks pretty
good.
good.
Well, if you have a gaming headset that has a mic attached to it, that's a great starting option.
Yeah, but definitely if you want to improve the look even more, you could go into OBS and you could tune like brightness and stuff like that. Just add a color correction filter and you should be good to go, and then you can tune it to just mess around with it and then make it look however nice you want it to look.
Great so far, but what about audio? Well, if you have a gaming headset that has a mic attached to it, that's a great starting option.
Another one, if you have earbuds as well, you know, earbuds with the inline microphone, you can use that as well. Anything like the inline microphone, like, you know, that small box like on your left or right side when you're wearing your earbuds or headphones, that is the inline microphone. Or like what he said, like a boom microphone. deck, just use that and you should be good.
If you don't, and you aren't looking to spend any money, both of the apps that we mentioned earlier have audio streaming options through your phone.
Yeah, and most often than not, the microphones on your phone is really good because, I mean, it's meant to take like phone calls and videos as well. Especially if you have like a more modern phone or more high-end phone in like maybe the past few years, it has got like the smartphone like microphone quality has gotten really, really good. So you can use that instead of if you don't have, let's say, a laptop that has like a built-in microphone, if that makes sense.
For the IP camera app, copy the Opus audio stream URL and paste it into OBS as a media source. And if you're using Droidcam, it will register as a system audio device. So just set it up as a mic in the OBS settings.
That's nice.
Finally, you'll need to implement a render delay filter on your video feed to get them synced up. Now that's decent. But because of the style of microphone built into most phones, chances are that you're gonna pick up a lot of keyboard and background noise. It's probably fine for when you're just getting started, but one of your first investments should be something like the Fifine K669, which we actually featured a while back in our cheap mic roundup. For just $34, it's pretty hard to beat, and look, it even comes with a cute little standy stand. Put all that together then and bam! You've spent somewhere between $0 and $50 on what I think is a fairly competent streaming setup here. All that's left is to get your stream key, fire up your games, get some snacks, and put some liquids in your lttstore.com water bottle, and of course, check out today's video sponsor, owned.tv. Your favorite. So, you don't want anybody. You don't want anybody to see your lighting setup. You got your light pointed.
Okay, that's pretty good. Okay, in my opinion, this video is actually like really, really good. We're gonna be checking about the sequel to that video, and then after that, I'll give my opinions then. Like my full opinions, conclusions.
A year ago, we showed you how to put together a decent setup for video conferencing and streaming for anywhere from $0 to $50. And okay, I lied a little to get your attention. You sound pretty darn good, and well, you're breathtaking.
You're breathtaking.
But that doesn't mean there's no room for improvement. Somewhere between our previous $0 and $3,000 setups has got to be a middle ground that levels up your streaming game without breaking the bank. And to show you how much each upgrade changes the experience, Owned Pro sponsored this video where we've recreated our original $0 streaming rig, and we'll be upgrading it piece by piece. That way you can judge for yourself if our choices were worthwhile. So I hope you picked good stuff, because this still looks and sounds pretty darn good, don't it?
Yeah, it does.
There we are, back to the original lighting, and still not bad considering the budget. Of course, we've got some more money to spend, so where do we start?
Yeah, and I would recommend one thing that he could do is turn off this light. Always make sure that your background lighting is always less intense than the lighting in front of you. What's lighting in front of you? So what he could do is turn off this particular light itself, and maybe turn up the brightness a bit on his camera. He should be good to go.
Of course, we've got some more money to spend, so where do we start? Sound. If you've got some money left over, it is hard to go wrong.
And also make sure to set the white balance to whatever the lamp that you're lighting yourself with, like the exact white balance.
With an audio upgrade, or sort of. Many of you will already know that gaming microphones tend to compromise performance for aesthetics, flashy lights, and sponsorships for esports teams.
True.
But while the conventional wisdom used to be, well, the people in the know are gonna go get a USB mic, these days, once you're past about the $50 point, there really isn't any reason to do that, even with the Blue Snowball being as decent as it is.
Quite true.
The thing is, they just don't have the same internal space and isolation that a good dedicated audio interface and a standalone analog microphone will. For $65.
True though. Basically, yeah, I think for like anything less than $100, because you can get, I think like a mic, like one of these cheap ones for like around 50 bucks, and then after that a microphone for 50 bucks, and maybe a boom one for like $10, and you should be good to go.
You can get a Behringer UMC22, which has
dual this
inputs, a TRS jack, and a combo XLR TRS.
If I'm not wrong, a better option would be the M Audio M-Track Solo that I've seen that has gone down to as low as 45 or 40 bucks. So you could get that one instead if you know you just want something like that. You know, I think it has better preamps and like better quality like sound and internals than this Euphoria, like Behringer Euphoria UMC22
connector. It's got Midas preamps, which are a little bit better than you'd find on Behringer's basic units, and it's got 3 more TRS jacks for headphones and stereo studio monitors for when it's time to upgrade your listening setup. Of course, since we're not going for an all-in-one.
Yeah, you also can use this as like your headphone amplifier. So let's say if you know your onboard sort of audio on your computer is really shitty, you could just use that.
Solution, now we need to choose a microphone, with condenser and dynamic microphones being the go-tos for most streamers and podcasters. Dynamic microphones are known for their exceptional noise isolation, and the SM48, which you're listening to right now, is no exception. It's a hammer style mic, like you might see at an event or concert, but that doesn't mean it's only meant for stage use. Dynamic microphones do have some downsides. They tend to have a very tight cardioid pickup pattern, which means that if you lean or turn away from your mic, you'll almost immediately sound muffled. But if you live or work in a room that has a lot of reverb or noisy air conditioning or something, this bug quickly turns into more of a feature. Also, because dynamic...
Yeah, you could also, if let's say you have a microphone, right, that picks up a lot of background noise, you could place it like not only closer to you, but you also can add like OBS filters to cut out the background noise. And also, it kind of depends on the style of content, because if you're just sitting down and just like, you know, gameplay and just nothing else, that could be a good option. But if you tend to move a lot in your room and you're not really like very and you can't be physically close to your mic, like let's say you have quite a few people, or like you're doing stand-up streams or like dancing or whatever it is, then you might, I think going for a condenser microphone is better, even though it picks up more of the background noise, if that makes sense. It depends on the style of content. So if you are more active, condenser will be much better, but if you are more like sit down and just can be really close to your microphone, then I think dynamic microphones are better than condenser microphones. So it depends on the use case, if that makes sense.
Dynamic microphones don't use phantom power. They can require a huge amount of gain to hear clearly. That means that some mic and interface combos may require a gain boosting add-on like a cloud lifter, though ours is fine without. They also naturally cut off the high end fairly early, which can result in them sounding somewhat flat without any additional EQing, but we'll talk more about that later. Condenser mics, on the other hand, tend to have a more open pickup pattern, meaning more background noise. But their large diaphragms also mean that they tend to capture those noises with more clarity and a wider frequency response, particularly on the high end.
I would say
if you have a room that...
I would say if you can, right, if like let's say you are able to and you don't, and let's say you're kind of like me where you have like an isolated room that doesn't really have much noise, I think a condenser microphone does have better quality in a sense than a dynamic microphone, like for the same price.
It's already quiet as is, and you'll be close to your microphone, but you might move around a bit. Well, there's a reason that the $100 Audio-Technica AT2020 is so popular. It can sound fantastic. However, if you're planning on using a condenser, you will need 48-volt phantom power on your interface. Our Behringer UMC22 did end up doing a pretty nice job with the Aston Spirit mic that I'm using at the moment, but at $450, I think the biggest takeaway here is how much bang for the buck we had with our $40 dynamic mic. After a cable and an inexpensive stand, then that puts us at $130 for sound. Meaning we can now turn our attention to video. And as crazy as this might sound, if you're a tinkerer, I would strongly recommend buying an old flagship phone and a cheap tripod on eBay rather than going with a traditional webcam.
Yeah, probably.
Apps like IP Webcam make it easy.
I would say don't get like an LG or Android phone. I would say specifically if you're using it just for video, I would much rather you get an iPhone. The reason is because iPhone usually has better like video quality, you know, than Android phones, like in terms of just raw video quality. But if you want to take photos and stuff like that, then you know, go for the Android. But since we're talking about just video, in that sense, I think iPhones are much better. Maybe you can get an iPhone 6, an iPhone 7 or something like that. I would recommend, I think the best option is to get an iPhone 6 or an iPhone SE, like those that can, if I'm not wrong, those iPhones can do 4D, like 4K at 30 frames, so that's really good, or 1080p at 60 frames, which is what, you know, most likely you are going to be using. And also iPhones have really good autofocus and colors and stuff like that, so I would definitely recommend that instead of an Android phone, since we're talking about pure video quality. And also the mic quality tends to be a bit better as well, so that's an even more reason to go for it if you don't want to buy like an external mic.
The video feed into a program like OBS or Zoom, and as an extra bonus, you can always use it for phone things if you're in a pinch. The main drawback of this strategy is that some phones can overheat during prolonged use, and you will want to get one that allows you to set a charge limit to prevent the battery from swelling. Or you can take your game to a whole other level with a dedicated camera. If you already have a DSLR or mirrorless camera kicking around with an HDMI port, there's a good chance that it can output a clean video feed. Even
especially
if it's an older
Sony
model,
cameras,
it looks significantly better than a smartphone thanks to its much larger sensor. And if you
I mean, the one that I'm using right now is kind of similar to what he's using. He's using the Sony Alpha A5000. I'm using the A6500 if I'm not mistaken, so it's, I think, like an upgraded version of that. So yeah, this is how we look with like good lighting and stuff like that.
Don't have one already, we really like the Sony A5100. It's a mirrorless camera that can be had for around $300 on eBay with a 16 to 50 millimeter kit lens included. And
yeah, you can use the kit lens.
Tripod from Amazon
the good thing about a kit lens is that you can go really wide, and when you need to tighten it up, you could always just go like this and just tighten it up. So it's really versatile for that as well.
Hook it into a capture card. More on that in a minute. How do I look? Pretty plug and play, right? Actually, I should point out that we are using the step-down A5000. It is $100 cheaper, but it doesn't support clean HDMI output without a third-party modification. So if you're a tinkerer, good for you, but if you're not, I'd recommend going for the A5100, and this should give you a pretty good idea of what to expect in terms of image quality. In terms of camera settings, most streamers aren't gonna have to mess around with too much. 30 FPS is lots for a corner cam, which means you're gonna want a shutter speed of 1/60th. Then you might just need to tune your ISO, which is the sensitivity of your sensor, to make sure you don't have too much noise in your image. Your white balance to make sure it doesn't look too yellow or too blue. You might have to tune your tint a little bit. We had to push this a little bit away from green and towards yellow to get it to look just right. And then you're gonna wanna set your aperture as wide as possible to get that nice, pleasing depth of field bokeh effect in the background. If you wanna avoid focus jittering with an older camera like this one, set your focus to manual and you should pretty much be good to go. Now, I wanna note that there are other options other than the A5100. Just make sure you do your research. That $150 Canon Rebel might be tempting, but its HDMI output might be full of menu garbage, which there's no hack to get around, and that's gonna be pretty hard to explain on your parent-teacher conference or whatever. Now, in terms of lighting, we previously recommended a basic halogen light, either in a lamp you found at Value Village or in a clamp-style work light.
Actually, instead of upgrading the camera first, I will most likely upgrade the lighting first, so I'll probably just get a softbox, like a $40 to $50 softbox, and then I will upgrade the camera. So he did it a bit wrong there in my opinion. We upgraded the camera first instead of lighting. Wherever you can, upgrade your microphone first, then your lighting, then your camera. So if you have everything like as is, microphone upgrade, which is what he did first, correct, and then followed by lighting upgrade, then camera upgrade.
Anywhere from a few dollars up to around $35. They are power hungry and they do tend to run a little hot, but with a reflector and a sheet of wax or diffusion paper, I mean, that's what you're looking at right now, man. And there's definitely an ambiance to it, but I look not bad, right? Switching over to an Elgato key light for comparison, certainly looks a lot better, but
But I would say it's not like the Elgato Killer is not a very good option for like budget conscious people. What you should do is, like I said, get a $40 to $50 softbox.
Just adding another halogen light, I think it's hard to justify the $200 price, at least from strictly an image quality standpoint. Where Elgato stands out though is in software control. Brightness and color temperature can be adjusted with a little slider in the taskbar, making it easy to compensate for a cloud suddenly covering the sun outside your window or what have you. And it also looks a lot more professional on your desk if that matters to you. Back to capture card for a moment. It is crazy how cheap these things have gotten, with generic USB stick-sized devices available on Amazon for as low as $15. And these aren't even the cheap, crummy ones.
I got mine for $10, so yeah, there you go.
Either. They have low latency, they record at reasonably high bit rates for 1080p, and they don't need any additional drivers
1080p 30 or 720p 60.
This makes them perfect for a quick capture of your camera. With that being said, you do get what you pay for to an extent, and a lot of cheap capture cards may suffer from signal degradation or crashing issues earlier than higher end options.
True, but $10 though.
Another benefit of premium capture cards is low latency pass-through, so that you can stream your Xbox gaming, for example, from your PC. But a good workaround to this is a cheap HDMI splitter, and for your viewers, it'll look exactly the same, even if for you it means a little bit more cable clutter. Of course, if you want to capture in 4K, you will need to spend more money on a capture card. AverMedia and Elgato both have solid 4K offerings around the $200 mark, although for like your face camera, I really can't say that I'd recommend them. Unless you are recording your footage locally on your PC so that you can edit it later and you want higher quality source files. Now let's get everything set up.
Yeah.
After taking a break to take a sip from my water bottle, lttstore.com. Yeah, love the Elgatos at home, but the bang for the buck here just cannot be beat. We're gonna need a couple key pieces of software.
Quite true.
OBS and Voicemeeter, both of which happily are free. With both programs open, use A1 to select your preferred listening device, ideally using a hardware ASIO engine if it's available. Set your first input to be your microphone, and then select your desired output channel on that input. To EQ your mic and make it sound all fancy, all you gotta do is right-click on the EQ above your output, and, well, for me, we might wanna raise the bass and treble a bit, giving it a warmer, more podcasty sound. Let's give that a shot. With audio dialed in, it's time to start getting our overlay set up. The overlay we're using today was generously made for us in yearly subscription from Stinger Droidcam setup by clicking on Add Source and then Video Capture Device, and your game or full. Resizing elements is simple. Just select the one you want to edit and you can resize it, holding Shift and Control keys to change how it's resized, or you can right-click to gain access to a whole bunch of extra options and tools, such as color keying for things like a green screen, if you have one. Adding alerts is also really easy with OWN Pro. On their dashboard, you can easily add custom alert variations and messages. I shot my teammate!
Oh, okay. This is how it will look like on stream. Alright, looks pretty nice. I guess this is more of like the higher end kind of setup, to where he has a pretty nice microphone and that.
Running, boys. This is the original setup. Not bad by any stretch of the imagination.
Yeah, this is the like budget setup, and I would say it's better than like 50% of people's streams, believe it or not. Like most people's streams, it's better than most people's streams.
But I think the difference after our upgrade is pretty striking.
True.
Leveling up the street.
And you have enough resolution to crop in as well.
Ah! Get him! I hate that gun so much. I don't know what it's called. Do I look like I know guns to you? I'm a pacifist Canadian.
Okay, that actually looks really good.
Oh god, my aim is so bad.
Well, there you have it. Whether the upgrades are worth it, that's up to you, but at least now you've got a solid idea of what's out there and how to set up for different kinds of configs. Thanks for watching, and remember to check out OWN Pro at the link in the description to get 50% off their yearly plan.
Yep, so as I would say, in my personal opinion, what he say is pretty true. Like, try to use what you have. Like, as for the free setup, just use your phone if you have it, and you know whatever you have around you. Basically, what he's saying is that just try to look like let's say you need a camera. Oh, what things can I use like as a camera, not only your laptop webcam and stuff like that. So just being more resourceful. As I say, for the upgrades, his upgrades are pretty good, I would say, but you know, I would suggest to go in the order of microphone first, lighting. I'm talking about upgrades, so microphone, lighting, and then your camera. And for the lighting that he recommended, I would recommend him to probably get just a regular softbox, because for I guess most streamers, and you know, they're just gonna turn on the light and just leave it on, right? And plus the softbox has a much larger area, plus it's way more cheaper. If you're just talking about price per performance, then I think a softbox still can't be beat. And yeah, definitely that. But anyways, you know, let me know what is sort of your opinion on sort of his setup. And also, you know, I hope this kind of helps you out, you know, if you are struggling to so-called make a dream setup, no matter what budget you have. Be it, do you have like $0, $50, $100, or however much you have, you should be able to create a really good streaming setup. And one good thing about a streaming setup is that once you set everything up, you can even record it, because right now even I'm recording through OBS Studio. So yeah, basically that it could be used to, you know, create content as well, which is very good. But anyways, if you like these types of videos, make sure to drop me a like to let me know, and you know, comment down below what other videos you would like me to check out next. You know, maybe someone else's setup you'd like me to check out next, you know, some other person's PC build or whatever it is. I'll be sure to check it out. But anyways, thank you all so much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video.